Weird things you've seen. Alright, feel a little silly even writing it down, but here we go. My supernatural encounter. Be me, 17. Dad loves to hunt, always go with him. We've had a real bad string of not getting drawn. After another year of not getting drawn, Dad just buys some expensive tickets to hunt on local res. Kind of a splurge, but it was on my dad and he could afford it. Super beautiful land. Keep spotting deer all over, no elk, only got tags for elk. I'm okay with it. My favorite part of hunting is just walking around and spending time with my dad. He was a surgeon when I was a kid, so I spent a lot of my childhood not really knowing who he was. Really just came home to eat or sleep. Anyway, we walk around all week, and it runs me ragged. We get to a nice meadow one day and my dad says he's gonna take a nap in the shade. Tells me to keep an eye on the meadow, elk wander into them all the time. Just chilling out in the beauty when I see some movement. Peek at it through my scope, just another herd of deer. Take my finger off the trigger, I know, I shouldn't have even put it on the trigger before I knew what I was looking at. I'm safer now, and just watch through the scope. Few minutes later, deer scatter. Just fucking bolt. Absolutely terrified. Weird, but neat. Maybe another predator is nearby? Not too worried, my gun is honestly stupidly big, even for elk, mostly just curious. Wait to see more movement. Eventually, I see something move across the clearing. Look through scope at it. It's just another deer. Looks a little bit funny, but not like Fallout bad. Just a little gangly. Moves a little funny too. Deer are real graceful, this thing just kind of bumbles. Honestly just assumed it was real young or something. It walks a little more into the clearing then stops. Looks directly at me through the scope. Already a little bit weird, I'm a good 400 meters out and in the shade, it shouldn't be able to see me and it shouldn't be able to catch any lens glare. Deer rears back on its hind legs, and the front legs just twist. I've seen deer on their hind legs before, but they can't put their front legs at their sides like humans can. This fucking thing does. Posture still isn't human cause deer don't have a center of weight like that, but it can put its fucking hooves at its side and it just stands and looks at me. Then it bolts across the clearing. Even then it's on two legs, even though it looks ridiculous, it's moving way faster than normal deer. If I had to eyeball it, I'd say this freak hit 30-ish. Get a long period to look at it. 20 seconds at least. Got that super forward-leaning sprint of sprinters, but it's a deer on two legs. It's not moving towards me, it's just headed across the clearing. Don't know why I didn't shoot it, I think part of my brain was still worried about the elk versus deer tag thing. Sounds really dumb saying it out loud, but I wasn't really worried, I was just baffled and kind of grossed out. After it's gone, tell my dad about it. He thinks I must have hallucinated it. I had only slept about 4 hours a night for the last 3 nights. I was a major insomniac in HS and sleeping anywhere but my house made it a lot worse. We walk out to the meadow to look for footprints. All we find is the pair of prints from where I saw it on 4 legs. Nothing from the 2-legged stage. Only weird detail is that the areas that it went through had a weird smell that both me and my dad noticed. Like old pennies and bleach. It was weird. I'm an atheist, so I generally don't put a lot of stock in the supernatural, but I gotta admit, that night shook me up. Weird shit. Hey. Not usually on /x/, but quarantine has brought me back to 4chan for the past week. I am a pretty average guy, and not much exciting has happened in my life. However, there is a story I tell regularly when the topic of most paranormal or otherworldly comes up. This is a UFO story that I promise is not exaggerated. Summer 2011. Around 10:30 p.m. Friend and I are coming back from girls' small get-together. Development was in the sticks, talking farms for days. Driving back home, trying not to hit any deer. Friend says he sees something moving in the sky. I remand the idea by saying it's a star. He insists this thing ain't normal. No one on the road for miles, so I stop and look. This thing is moving up, down, left, and right erratically, and it seems to be trackable. It eventually stops. Ash Ketchum hat turn. We speed up the road making sure it doesn't zoom off. I turn my lights off cause I drove about 10 feet into a farmer's land. I had a 96 Ford Mustang at the time and didn't want to get stuck. It is hovering about 500 feet away from about a 25 degrees of our position. Can see the bottom pretty well. Triangular, with 3 bright lights on each corner. A faint, and much smaller red light in the center. Due to our position and the lack of light in this area, I can't see much else. We gaze in awe for about 30 seconds before the central red light blinks, and small objects fall out of it. Immediately afterwards it darts directly towards the atmosphere at speeds I cannot even try to estimate. Still visible as just a bright light. Erratically moves again for less than 5 seconds. Eventually flies from our sights. That's about it. My friend and I talk about it to this day. Have had other friends layer on depth with rumors, like that there is an aviation testing facility out in those boonies. Townsend, Delaware, if anyone is wondering about locations. Not that weird and possible explanations, but home alone. Mask on shelf far from bed. Go sleep. Wake up, mask in bed next to me. The room was locked. I could have been sleepwalking, but I don't know. I never did that before. Be working security in the loony bin. Working in the wing with one of the highest rates of self-forever sleep. Supposedly haunted. My pod in particular. Housed the totally homeless, drug addicted, no visitors, etc. Basically the dregs of society outside of the asylum. Doing my rounds. Walk by the showers. Not like you see in movies. Think bathroom stalls with a shower head. See feet under the stall. Think I'm about to get in a fight or see something gross. The feet lift up. Like someone is trying to hide. I rush the stall door. Sparta kick it open. Door slams into the wall. Nobody. Cell near the shower. Ha ha ha, Orion, the ghost get into ya boy. I guess so. Go down to my partner. Saw ghosts, man. Well. Yet. Hot summer night. Always sleep with door closed. Sleeping with open door scares me. Decide to sleep with door open for ventilation anyway. Wake up in middle of night. Feel something's off. Instinctively look at open door. See a little, naked boy. Looks like a corpse. Look at him for 30 seconds while trying to find flashlight with my hand. Think any hallucination would have worn off by now. Also get a good look at him. Looks like he stopped moving mid-step while sneaking into my bedroom. Is standing on one leg, trying to hold still and not make any sound, but is shaking around a little. Black eyes, extremely pale, facing me. Neutral facial expression. Scared he'll just jump onto my bed and charge me once he's sure I'm awake. Find flashlight. Point at him. He's gone. After all this was over, I screamed in fear. First time I ever did that. Still curious as to why I didn't scream once I saw him, but only once he was gone. Here's some wholesome content for you all. Be born and raised Catholic. Become steadily more serious about the faith since 2015. 2017 filled with strange occurrences, up to October. Going to Mass one Saturday evening at my local cathedral. Get up at the offertory, roughly the middle of Mass, to go to the bathroom. Walk around the back of the cathedral. In the back of all the pews see a very, very big statue stood up in the pews. This statue is fucking huge, sticking way up out of the seat. It's a statue of somebody in a green robe with a staff. Think this is weird? Go to the restroom. Walk back around the back of the cathedral. Get back to where the statue is. The statue has shrunk. It's now very tiny, barely visible in the seat. Am amazed but don't say anything. Go back to my seat. Go through the rest of Mass. After Mass is dismissed, get up and check the back pew again. The statue is totally gone. I figured out later who it was, a statue of Saint Jude the Apostle, patron saint of desperate causes. I've been praying to him for intercession since I was very young. I have a few small paranormal experiences but nothing really scary or substantial. Hanging out in my apartment. University town, very old houses on my street. For my country they are old but only like 150 years. My building specifically is very old. Students been living there for a long time. There is a long hallway in the middle of the apartment connecting the new kitchen to the older main room. My bedroom is near the older end of the house. Many times while I am looking down the hallway I can see a distinct dark figure for about half a second. I noticed that they looked different in stature almost every time I saw them. One of the figures is more menacing than the other. I can tell this one is male somehow and extremely tall, somewhat thin. I decide to sage the house and have a purification ritual. The tall figure is no longer present, the shorter figure still shows up from time to time. I feel no ill will or malice from the shorter figure, so I don't have a problem with this. Another time in my kitchen I was washing the dishes and thinking about business ideas. Washing dishes and thinking to myself. Have a small mental breakthrough and suddenly I hear what I can only describe as the word of God. It sounds like angels, I can only describe as pure light and noise. Some sort of sweet airy singing. This noise did not come from my own mind because I was thinking of something completely random at the time. I would consider myself a skeptic because I haven't seen much, more so what I've felt. I also suffered some hallucinations in elementary school because of a sickness I had, so I generally know how to tell what's real and what's fake. Maybe the bullies in HS were right and I really am schizo. A few experiences I've had in past couple of months. Live on farm. Live on 50 acres. Most of it is woodland. Hear animals outside. Sheep, and llama. It's a little past midnight. Grab nearby flashlight. Shine light out from kitchen window. See something crawling on ground. Lanky, emaciated, gray creature. My light catches its attention. Creature stop its army crawling. Turns towards my direction. Notice its eyes glow yellow. Middle of forehead begins to tingle. Feeling akin to foot falling asleep. My vision begins to become blurry. I look away from the creature. My eyesight returns to normal. Do a double take like a idiot. Sight blurs again once I make eye contact. Creature gets up, and runs away into woods. Sketch of the thing I saw outside. This was about 2 months ago. Stranger things have been happening ever since I saw this thing. This is something that happened like 2 weeks ago. I was camping with my friend in front of a desertic beach. We were actually talking about this sort of shit, so the tent had this window, and we saw this very luminescent star. There was no moon, so the stars were bigger and stuff. So this star actually stays put for about 2 hours. Then in the middle of the conversation the star moves down slowly upon a mountain and starts changing color. Green, blue, yellow, white. I was astonished. And all of the sudden the star just disappeared. We actually checked on our hands to see if we weren't dreaming or something. 'Cause they say in a dream you can't see your hands, or I don't know. Posted a few times over the years. Live in Southern California suburb, not your typical suburb, however. Hanging out with friends circa 2012, we are about 14 to 15. Walking on road that used to dead end into a dirt road cordoned off by a fence with a big hole in it. Leads up to different road, they are connected now. The edges of this city are basically just foothills leading to San Bernardino Mountains or to bullshit places with no houses. While walking up this dirt hill you are able to see into the backyards of 6 to 7 houses. One house has a moving motion light, it literally pans the backyard. Going on and off every couple minutes. We are kinda WTFing for a second, but also who the hell cares, just weird that a motion light is going off endlessly. About halfway between the two actual asphalt roads that this dirt road connects. Suddenly see two massive black figures cross the entire backyard. They are tall enough to fully cover the house vertically but about as wide as a human. They hop over the fence. A standard 6-foot wooden fence, it looks like they sort of vaulted over it effortlessly. It's hard to describe, but imagine a human vaulting over a 3-foot rail, and this is what it kinda looked like. Their shadow also spans the backyard, so it's obvious that the silhouettes are taller than a house and crossing very close to the light. Me and my friend don't even stop walking. Did you just see that, bro? Yes, I did. What the fuck was that? I have no idea. In the same vein. Be friend's brother. Circa 2016, he's about 18 to 20. Walking late at night alone. Our town is relatively quiet and peaceful, so little threat of being attacked by human beings. He's completely relaxed and calm because we've been going out this late since we were like 10. Goes around the corner from his house and walks down a hill. Once down the hill it's much darker, it's like this little forgotten 3-way intersection surrounded by fields and relatively few houses. The 3-way intersection goes like this: if you keep going straight after going down the hill, it curves left and back uphill. You can turn right, but that isn't important, but in that direction is a bunch of unincorporated land that directly connects to my last story. Starting at the bottom of the hill is a thick line of bushes along the left side of the road that continue all the way up the hill to the left. As he's passing this thick line of bushes, he hears almost nothing, but feels the impact of something very large running behind him. He turns around immediately and sees nothing, looks everywhere in astonishment. Swears to God that he didn't hear anything, but he could physically perceive the impact of a footstep on the ground behind him. Now normally I'd call bullshit, but I swear to you this guy is the most straight-edge motherfucker I've ever met. He only ever consumes alcohol, and this night he was totally sober. He's one of those guys that even a little weed makes him have an awful anxiety attack. All these threads about reality not being real reminded me of another good one. Be alcoholic. Get drunk with friend. Tell him I can cut my leg and it won't bleed. Cut myself. Very large cut, I have a large scar. It doesn't fucking bleed. I'm not lying or exaggerating. I swear to God, I bet he wouldn't even want to remember it. I had no blood on my pants, needed no treatment, and there wasn't blood anywhere. Under normal circumstances I would expect something like this cut to get blood absolutely mac fucking everywhere. Be in high school. Never seen anything paranormal. Only ever heard footsteps in grandmother's house when younger. Always interested in ghost stories and stuff. Friend would tell me stories of his haunted house he used to live in. Eventually ask him about haunted places around where we live. Few places but one comes up Western Pines Park. End up walking there. Explore Park 1 jungle gym has graffiti of big eyes with Big Brother is watching you. End up sitting on different jungle gym with friend talking until it gets dark. Eventually sitting in silence listening. Hear leaves start to rustle. It's just a dog.jpg. Ignore it. Eventually notice it's getting louder. It's just a deer.jpg. Ignore it. Eventually notice it is really loud and violent and frantic sounding leaves rustling. Look toward woods/sound. Okay, this shit is where it gets fucking weird. I'll count in part 2, but just as a tangent to this part of the story, I have really shitty eyesight and need glasses, and didn't have them at this point, and it was like 8 something in summer and it was dark. So have bad eyesight. Look at sounds direction/woods. Hear 3 ting noises sounded like nails hitting a metal pole. Each ting gets louder with the last one making my ears ring. This is when adrenaline hits my body like a fucking heavy ass rain, or when, like in the anime Bleach, when they feel someone's pressure, it felt like that. My vision kind of goes tunnel and like zooms in the area of this sound, and I can see a shape dart out of the woods. When this happens, at first I can't hear any birds or the sound of the water in the creek or the hum of the street light, I just hear this rabid fucking scratching of leaves. My vision is locked on this object that has appeared. Another tangent: where we are sitting next to us, is a fenced-in basketball court, and past that is a parking lot, and on the side of this parking lot, a little ways is a line of woods where this thing comes out at. Thinking back now, I have to explain how my brain worked in this moment, sorry if it gets long. Vision locked on black blob very low to ground. Red flag 1, it did not come out sniffing around like a dog or wandering around. This thing is moving top speed directly to where me and my friend are sitting. Red flag 2, my friend stands up. From where I am sitting, I am looking forward, and he was sitting in front of my vision when I am watching this thing. He fucking stands up. He can see this too. Red flag 3, what I see is fucking there. He stands up because this thing just rounded the side of the basketball court fence a good 9 or 10 foot from where the wooden frame with wood chips and shit is, where we are sitting on the end of a slide by this. I can fully see what this thing looks like, and my hairs all stand up at once. It looks like a fucking human being crawling on all fours, but its legs and arms are bent in these weird broken looking acute angles like a fucking spider or some shit. I cannot hear my heartbeat, but I can feel my heartbeat pulse in my tunnel vision. All I feel is adrenaline making time seem to slow down, and my brain is trying to process what I'm seeing. It's fucking weird, man. It's super hard to explain. It's like seeing a fucking werewolf in real life. My brain is just like, that's something that is not real, that is something that is not supposed to exist, yet I am looking dead at it. Brain keeps saying that's not real, that's not real. But my brain also notices my homie is standing up right beside me looking at this thing too, and he sees it. Brain is a shitting itself. My tunnel vision / adrenaline / focus or whatever finally notices its face. Don't remember features, just sunken in eyes and mouth open like an oval shape, and its head is twisting to the side, kind of like how Stewie from Family Guy does sometimes. At this point it's as close as fuck, and this is this first time in my life I have ever truly felt fight or flight. Only thing my brain can force myself to blurt / yelp out is bail. Me and friend bolt fast as fuck in opposite direction around basketball fence. Whole time running can hear the rustling of leaves right behind us. get to a sort of bridge thingy with gravel that you have to either drive over or walk across to get into the park. Another tangent I forget is that the park is in a sort of neighborhood / cul-de-sac kind of place. Me and my friend get to the bridge thingy and slide around on the gravel, this being the only other sound I hear other than the leaves and my yelp earlier, to face the thing chasing because it sounds like it's right behind us. Also maybe we felt safe because we were near the houses and street lights. Turn around and sound is gone. The thing is also gone. Nothing there. Slowly start to hear sound, start to see back from trickle of water from creek under the bridge. Me and him look at each other and walk home. On that walk we talked and tried to figure out WTF we saw. Went back a few times and nothing like that ever happened again, but I was with people that were being assholes. I have no idea if it was a skinwalker or a wendigo or just some malicious spirit. All I know is that single moment is all it even took for me to see and believe in the paranormal. When you see something like that in real life, in reality that shit is fucking wild, man. I will never forget that ever. If anyone has any ideas or whatever on what it could have been, please let me know. It's the first time I'm posting this story on here. But something I forgot to mention, one of the times going back the jungle gyms had been replaced with new ones, and when we go back to the one in the back someone had come back and put the graffiti of the eyes back in the same place. On top of the jungle gym they have those triangle roofs and you have to get under the roof to see these big ass eyes looking down on you. But it didn't say Big Brother is watching that time, just the big ass eyes. Be little kid living with grandparents. Parents have unstable work schedules, so it's best to just have me live with Gramps until it sorts out. Grandparents live with their other daughter, their son, and his family, and some pet rabbits. Place is crowded, no food because poor. But I still had fun. Grandpa has a weird lamp in his room. Been there for years, never really noticed it much. One day I'm kicking a basketball around like an idiot. You can see where this is going. Look out the window and see a weird looking guy approaching. He is a short man with long black hair. His eyes look serious. Wait. He is carrying the exact same lamp on him. Got distracted staring at him that I kick recklessly and break Grandpa's lamp. The lamp shatters, but there's a ball of light hovering around the pieces. It's probably more accurate to call as a ring of nothing. It looks so out of place. As if someone opened up an image of a living room in an editing software, took the eraser and made a circle with it. It shouldn't exist. Ball explodes, temporarily blinding me. When my vision adjusts I see the mystery man came inside. As if he owned the place. He replaces the lamp. Places his own identical lamp there. He leaves. Grandma witnesses the mystery man fix my mistake. But she didn't witness the ball of nothing. I somewhat feel relieved knowing I am no longer in trouble. But pieces of the original lamp are still scattered. I'm a kid, so I just walk away. Headed through the kitchen and into the corridor. Stop and feel my throat fill. I am looking at the bedroom door that is slightly open. There is a floating eyeball right behind it. About the size of an adult hand. Grandma comes from behind me. She gasps when she sees it too. We are standing there for a moment until Grandpa gets back from work. He doesn't seem bothered by it, more like annoyed. Spend the next 4 months living in basically Amityville until we finally move out. I should make a thread about everything I saw. The genies. I've seen real female boobs once. Pics or it didn't happen. This happened when I was around 7 or 8 in the 90s. I shared a room with my grandpa. My grandpa worked for Freightliners, so there would be several times through the month that he would be gone and I would sleep alone, no biggie. Our room had 2 twin beds with a nightstand in the middle, his bed had a window above it that saw into our backyard. One night he's gone and I roll over still half asleep and I can see out the window and it looks like there's something standing outside. It's super windy and there's a huge tree in our backyard, so my eyes adjust and I can make out that it's just the tree's thick trunk swaying back and forth. After a few minutes of trying to go back to sleep I realize it's not a tree. The best way I can describe it is something with a 4-foot-long neck, hence the tree trunk shadow. I noticed it because after a few minutes of swaying back and forth I saw it bend its neck like it was looking inside, and when it turned its head I saw that it had 2 horns and a long beak. After almost shitting myself I did what any kid would do and rolled over and squeezed my eyes closed hoping to fall asleep. Next morning I go outside to look for tracks but of course nothing. I go to sleep that night with the curtains closed and when I wake up the next morning Gramps is back and he tells me he brought my cousin last night and he's staying the weekend with us. I go to the living room and my cousin is there already with a bowl or cereal watching Kids WB or whatever. He slept in the living room. After a few episodes of cartoons I tell him I saw something the other night in the window, and he freezes and asks, "Did it have a long neck and beak?" Nope. JPG. Cousin says he saw it looking into the living room from the front porch before waddling off. To this day we have no idea what we saw, but the fact that he described in imperfect detail still scares the fuck out of me and is the reason I always sleep with the curtain closed. I have a short one, remember it quite well. This was in a residential area. Around 8 in 2008. Bed was next to window, blinds open. Wake up at some point at night and look out of window. See a UFO fly past around 30 meters out from window over some houses. I remember it quite vividly. It had an oscillating sound to it and it wobbled, purple lights underneath and some sort of humanoid inside. I remembered this story while reading something recently. This happened to my uncle, but it was related to me by my mother, and my uncle apparently refuses to talk about it. When he was younger, he was a bit wild. Nothing crazy, just young man stuff. Going out to parties, drinking with friends, exploring the city, etc. One night he was supposed to meet up with friends, but he had a sinking feeling in his gut and he couldn't figure out why. He didn't even feel like going out, but partying was so routine that he ignored the feeling and left the house. He was headed to a local club when the feeling suddenly came on again at a red light. My uncle then saw a car roll up next to him and he looked over. The car wasn't too out of the ordinary, although it was entirely black. There weren't any noticeable hubcaps, just black. The windows were tinted black. It was really dark and sleek looking. Then the back window rolled down slowly and my uncle saw something that made him scream and hit the gas. He ran through the red light, no traffic, and went straight home. He didn't meet up with friends, and he actually stopped partying altogether. He stopped drinking and started going to church. It was a pretty radical change, and I guess my mom asked him about it one day and he confided in her that he had seen the devil. My mom said he couldn't describe him very well. Only that he looked half man, half beast, and he was all black, just like the car, but with some noticeable features that he couldn't describe. Mainly my uncle just remembers the mouth because it was smiling at him. Sounds like a creepypasta, but this is a known story in my family and rarely gets discussed. I once thought I saw a big cat. It was a large, black feline that looked like a panther. I live in northern England. I saw it while at work. My job is situated in a large business park which isn't fully built, so there's plenty of wildlife, including deer. I was looking out of the window instead of working because I was procrastinating. Then off in the distance I see this huge black cat almost the size of an adult man. It creeps along a pavement for a few feet and jumps into some bushes down a small embankment. I never saw it again. Be a little 7/8/9 years old shit 20 years ago. Medium sizes town in southern Germany. Parents are not at home, I chill in the living room watching TV. Older brother, who was sitting on the balcony, yells at me panically and urges me to come to the balcony. It's a fucking saucer UFO, floating there maybe 300 meters away from us, silently. It was yellowish, with red and blue blinking lights. After 10 seconds, it vanishes. Older brother and me can't believe what we saw and no one else ever believed us. This is kind of dumb, but still. About ca 2005-6 Bavaria, Germany. So, I lived in this little suburb at the edge of a forest. Where I live, there's a huge forest that connects basically all the nearby towns in some way, but that's more or less unimportant. I lived with my brother, my mother, and her boyfriend at the time. I go with my mother and brother for a walk in the woods, while my mother's boyfriend was at work. We were out for maybe half an hour into the forest and half an hour back out. I didn't see anything odd, or of note, though I should add that I pass a graveyard on the way into and out of the forest. As we walked back home, it started to get dark. Eventually, our home at the time comes into view. It stands at an angle to the road, so I could see into the living room, still a ways back. 1. I see the light on, and someone playing the piano in the living room. 2. I turn to my mother and say your boyfriend is playing the piano. 3. I run ahead and start knocking on the door. No one answers. Now I'm confused. Now that I'm at the door, frosted glass, I don't see any light, either. I ring the doorbell, but nothing. I run back and get the keys from my mother, run back over and unlock the door. Lights are all off. Piano is closed, covered in papers, Mom's boyfriend isn't there. I'm standing all alone in a dark, empty house, very perturbed. It was a new house, and sometimes I figure that I imagined the whole thing, but I was so sure that I reacted and interacted with other people based on what I had seen. So, who knows? Also, one time my mom was entertaining possible renters and a guy with a red shirt walked in. We stared at each other, and when I looked away for only a second he vanished. Mom said there was never anyone with a red shirt there that day. Got too much stuff to list without completely hijacking the thread, so I'll limit myself to the one time I could confirm it 100%. Sleeping in my flat, on a large folding bed. About 1.5 m from the closest other furniture, smooth wooden wall behind me. See a recurring character in my dream. Basically, a young, very slender woman whose body is always cold. Often appears in my dreams, so I came to get along with her quite well. Hug her. Notice that her body feels wrong, hot, too soft, too thick on some parts. Wake up. See golden eyes right above my head. Creature sees my eyes opening and recoils. See a woman with dark hair and antlers on her head sitting on top of me. Panic and punch her in the face, causing her to fall off the bed. Recoil from the punch throws my body up, waking me for real this time. Draw knife from under the mattress, search the room. Nothing. Must have been a dream. Notice I'm bleeding from between the knuckles on my hand. Wound looks like it was caused by a pointy object, like a canine tooth. I had a wound in the same spot from hook punching somebody once before. Nothing around the bed could have caused that wound. Notice that carpet is ruffled where I thought the creature fell. That might have been caused by me during the search though. I'm a new fag, don't really know how to green text, but I really want to tell you guys about this. Be me. 13 years old. It's 2014 or 2015, doesn't really matter. Surfing the web 'cause I'm bored. Get the idea of visiting foreign sites by using Google Translate. Search up dumb shit like guns for sale in Russian or anime in Japanese. Then get the idea to search up terrorist in Arabic. Get a bunch of news articles and commentary videos about the recent goings-on. Some YouTube videos are dislike bombed to hell and back. Get idea to check out commenter channels. Not much. People recording their friends and family. Vlogs. Gaming. The usual. Then I come across a channel with actual beheading videos. Get intrigued. Find out that you can find a slew of fucked videos and Muslim propaganda just by finding one of these guys. I keep going down the rabbit hole. Find a channel with over 100 videos and 10k subs. Posts the usual deplorable garbage. But then I see a video that's just different. It's a video of something. It's completely unrecognizable. It obviously got shredded up by AKS. But its whole body structure just didn't look right. I'll try my best to describe. Top part is completely fucked, it's just mincemeat. Then as it goes on there's multiple sets of limbs. Body is like a snake and the skin is all scaly. Tail covered in spines. Guys recording the video are bantering and laughing. They start dragging the thing. Tie it up with some rope and hang it. It starts spazzing out after a while. It stops. Guy turns camera on himself. Says something in Arabic. Video's over. WTF are the towel heads up to when they're not fighting. I also have a very weird memory from a birthday. Be 5 to 9 years old, I don't remember. Celebrating birthday by wearing a soccer shirt. Sitting with my gifts, the couch was either very close, if not touching a bookshelf. Other adults are either talking or taking pictures. Sudden darkness on left. Peripheral vision doesn't see shit. Brain tells me not to look at bookshelf. Feel pressure on left shoulder so turn around to face bookshelf. 3/2 of the bookshelf from bottom to top are obscured and a black rubbery hand coming from it. Sudden paralysis. All I can see now is a brass statue of a hunched old man on the top of the bookshelf, maybe a hermit or something, and the black rubber hand coming towards me. After that I don't remember the rest of the day. Time passes and I need childhood pictures for a school project. Look through album and see myself in the couch with the rubber hand. Apparently someone took a picture of me while paralyzed. Tell uncle if he remembers anything, he is kind of a prankster so maybe he put on a glove to scare me. Says he doesn't remember being near me at the time. Also didn't had a black rubber glove and could not even fit between the couch and bookshelf. Shit my pants and put the album away. Time passes again, now in HS, and I'm looking for the photo for a ghost stories photo. Can't find it, it isn't on the album and my mom doesn't remember having saved any rubber hand photo. Shit my pants again. May try and find the photo again, will post if I find it. Pick unrelated. I'm currently seeing this from out my window. Approximately 5+ km distance from my apartment. Clearly visible and very strong lights. I'm on the second floor so this must be very high and huge. I can see the outline of the hills. And I don't remember being what I can realistically assume, huge ass building being there and being lit up at 2 AM like that. I tried to recreate it because my phone's a shit and the battery died. We'll upload a better picture. BTW now that it's morning I can surely say that this is not a building or any natural occurring thing. They've slightly moved down towards the horizon and I can say they're way up there and further away to what I eyeballed before. Aw, never mind, it's two goddamned cranes. Very interesting. Here's a story I found that's somewhat similar to yours. Be me. Trucker Fug. Green as grass. On assignment from Reno to Los Angeles. Stopped to take my 10-hour break about halfway on US 95. Sleep for about 9 hours. Get rolling at 0100 local. Have to cut across Nevada Highway 6 to connect with US 395. It's 0330. Dark as hell out, 2-lane highway going for miles. Brights on. No cell signals, so just silent. Suddenly see something cross the road. Its head is level with mine, and I'm in a semi-truck. Slender, all black, a little hunched over. Just see it saunter across the highway at the edge of my high beams. Break out into cold sweats. Lock the doors and keep rolling. Pray to the ghost of Snowman that my truck doesn't break down out here. Got into LA on time, still spooked. Tell other driver friends. They asked me why I thought it was a good idea to take that highway at night. There was also the time I got stuck in the ice and snow on US 395 near Bridgeport, prime Skinwalker territory. Not my own story, it's actually the story of a friend's GF. According to her story, she's 4 or 5 years old, 6 at the latest. She wakes up in the middle of the night because she's thirsty. She goes to the kitchen and gets her glass of water. On her way back to her room, she happens to stare outside the living room window. She says she sees a garden gnome that she's never seen on the front lawn. It's animated, and beckoning her to come to him. She shakes her head, beginning to cry because she's scared. The gnome gets mad and makes as if to run at the window. In her fear, she drops the glass of water and runs off to her parents' bedroom and asks to sleep with them. The next morning they found her knocked over glass of water and a moist spot in the carpet, right next to the living room window. I don't think anything supernatural was involved. Kids do /see weird shit. I remember myself, I wound up seeing a therapist at a similar age because I commented to my parents that the patterns on the stucco walls in the interior of our house looked like writhing bodies in hell. Also, I have the vague memory of seeing a pale-faced man in the garage of my house when I was 4 years old, although no definite memory image exists that I can recall. Wrote it down in one go but broke it off because it was too long, so here. Be me, 16. Live in a rural area in the middle of butt-fucking nowhere. To go to my grap's house I had to go all the way down a foresty area with a cliff, trail down via dirt paths on the side, then follow a river till you get to their fairly large chunk of land. Total death trap, but my friends and I are young reckless little shits, so of course we do retarded things like run through the narrow dirt paths. Took 20 to 30 minutes to go from the small town Dad and I lived at to there, depending of how much you dawdle to get there. Gramps being the stubborn old ass he was, refused to leave his land and moved to town with Dad and me. I had 2 close friends back then, I'll call them Tom, a 18-year-old who usually instigated whatever stupid thing got us in trouble each week, and Sean, same age as me and the butt of pretty much all of our pranks. He became a bit of a grump and had huge chimp-outs every now and then. You know. Looking back, maybe we weren't that great of friends, but there was no one else to hang out with, so we made do. This story happened a rainy afternoon. Tom, Sean, and I were watching TV at my place because of the rain. My dad had been working like usual, he was a butcher at the time, and got home with big piece of ham for my gramps. I was supposed to take it to him, but the dad said I should wait till tomorrow because the rain may make the paths dangerous, regardless of how mad Gramps would be about not getting his ham. Whatever, less work for me. That day Tom had been particularly dickish towards Sean, to the point I actually had to sit in between them to avoid a full-on fist fight. After a little longer Dad got shit-faced drunk, nothing new to us, though it had never happened with my friends at home, he probably had it particular hard that day. Us being loud teens eventually made him mad and he came in yelling, making everything particularly awkward. It was a pretty bad outburst. After a few minutes of silence with only the TV breaking it, I get up and pick the ham from the fridge. Ask the guys to come outside with me because I really don't feel like being with that. Explain to them I'll take the ham to Gramps and crash in there. By this point the sun is starting to set, but Tom insists we all go. Sean is bitching about it and how he doesn't want to walk the way back in the dark, but we win him over by calling it a coward, faggot and sissy. Off we go into the small forest. Tom ran into his house to get a flashlight beforehand, but it's not dark enough to need it yet. I'm carrying the stupid ham, which means I got my hands full, but Tom and Sean are just jumping around the overgrown roots until we reach the cliff. Then everything goes downhill. Needless to say, Tom kept teasing Sean the whole way and it was finally starting to get dark. I was feeling like shot at this point and the mud was getting annoying. Then Tom does it. He calls Sean near the edge. "Hey, what the fuck, it's that down there." Sean is having none of it and says he's going back. I would have called bullshit too, but Tom seemed concerned. "Really, you have to see it." Sean begrudgingly goes, and right when he's next to Tom he acts like he's gonna push him off the cliff, then pulls him back by his shirt. Tom was laughing his ass off. Sean on the other hand fell on his ass, coated in mud. Sean went ballistic. He was throwing punches and kicks at Tom, who was no paying attention. But the laughing stopped once Sean punched his face. I couldn't do anything but ask them to stop because I'm carrying the stupid ham. But the brawl didn't last. It was sudden. Our hearts stopped beating for a second. Tom had just accidentally thrown Sean off the edge down to the forest. The scream sent chills down my spine. I dropped the ham and about to run to the town to get help. Tom stopped me. He was rambling about how there was no time and we had to go get him or he could die, but I knew damn well he was scared of the police finding out he threw Sean. Regardless, we both ran down the path as fast as we could, almost tripping more than once. We were screaming for Sean the whole way, but after the initial scream there was nothing but silence. Once we were down, we went up the very thick forest, the opposite direction from the usual way to my Gramps' place. We were always told these forests were dangerous, too many wild animals. It was dark, the sun completely set. Everything damp, and our only means of navigation was the lamp Tom carried. But something else was off. The forest was eerily silent. Like idiots we ran deeper and deeper, screaming for Sean as hard as our lungs would let us. Suddenly we hear it. Here. We heard it, a scratchy voice, grating. "Must be because of the fall, he got really fucked up," Tom said as we ran towards the voice. I say run, but we tripped and got stuck by branches the whole way through. It's impressive what adrenaline can do for you. We are completely disoriented, and then's when I saw it. We reached a swampy area of the forest, mud up to our ankles and got deeper and deeper as you go, branches reaching off the murky mush. And here's when I notice. I could swear some those branches look like fucking arms. Tom is still calling for Sean and goes silent as he's looking down at the mush, before running off the other direction. I ask what's going on and try to follow him, but I suddenly get yanked back by my jeans. I fucking swear I felt something grip them. I fall face first into the mud, and do my best to get up quick to find my footing. That's when I see it, covered by the darkness of the night, just barely noticeable at a distance. A pair of eyes, and a fucking mouth giving a toothy smile were right there in mud. Not a skull, not a head, eyes and a mouth. I get up and try to run the same direction we came from before I get tripped backwards and almost had a heart attack. There was another fucking face, it couldn't be the same one. From here on my mind is a blur. I remember eventually getting up again and actually stumbling into the forest. Mumbles being the only sounds outside of the ones I made crying and getting away. Eventually I must have reached the river, because my Gramps told me I got to his home late at night. He checked on me and saw I didn't have any severe damage outside of scratches and bruises. He told me he locked down the house and didn't sleep a blink watching over me with his hunting rifle. At the next day I told him everything. He didn't know what it was either, but we went to town and reported it all. Sean's body was found stuck atop a tree, snapped a bunch of bones, including his spine and neck. Tom was never found. I still don't know what to call whatever the fuck I saw, but I'm glad I moved far away from that damn place. UFO sighting, 2007 in Tucson, Arizona. About 2 in the afternoon. Driving across the city with friends to meet with a dealer and buy weed. Up in a part of the city with higher elevation. Looking down across the valley in which the city is built, at some storm clouds piling up above the mountain range lining the horizon. See something strange in the clouds. There's a large shape floating in the clouds above the mountains. It's shaped like a slightly elongated bell, but laying on its side. It's black in color, there's a white oval in the center of it. It's roughly the size of the moon in the sky, from about 10 to 15 miles away, so fucking enormous. Pointed out to my friends. We defer from our important errand, change direction, and start heading downward toward the opposite side of the city. Cars are pulled over on the side of the road, a man is standing outside one, looking at the object. Continue driving towards it. Lose the higher elevation as we go, so lose sight of the object for a bit. When we see it again, we're maybe 3 or 4 miles closer. It has moved down out of the clouds and is not drifting slowly across the face of the mountains. Also, it has completely changed shape and color apparently. Now it looks like a flat rectangle, solid beige in color. By flat, it looks like it was a box drawn on the landscape by Microsoft Paint. We lose sight of it again. When we're about 3 or 4 miles away from it, we see it again. Realize why it had looked two-dimensional before. It was extremely angular and box-like in its form. You can imagine, if you remember the Borg spaceships in Star Trek, they're like giant cubes. It was kind of like that, except not perfectly square. There were some angles and corners in its shape. And its surface wasn't as rough and textured as the Borg ships, with all kinds of random pipes and tubes and what the fuck ever. It was smoother on its surface. But from the distance we were located previously, it had looked like completely flat. Now that we're closer, we're kind of more under it, and from an angle, so can see it three-dimensionally. We're still pretty far away from it, but I can make out like seams on its surface. It kind of looks like gigantic metal sheets that have somehow been formed and attached together, with maybe the outline of doors or ramps that would fold out from the surface or be retracted up so they are flush with the exterior surface. Just assuming here. But its surface was not perfectly smooth. The object is fucking immense, another really rough guess, but I'd estimate it was about a half-mile long on a side, and maybe half as high as that. It's just slowly floating in the air, strafing the face of the mountain range. It's floating out past the range of the city, out into the desert. The road we're on is headed in a direction somewhat perpendicular to the line of travel of the object, so if we continue driving we'll be moving farther away from it. We pull over and watch it. It seems like it's moving very slowly, but maybe that's an illusion caused by how huge it is, because it seems to cover the distance of several miles in just a couple minutes. It's moving farther away. My friends and I decide there's nothing more for us to do, and we turn around and carry on with our day. I'm a little disappointed with how anticlimactic the sighting was. Nothing really happened. When I get home that night, I browse the local news channels. There's no mention of it. I never hear about it again. Can't believe I saw something like that. It was wild, just surreal. Told this before on the board a while ago but was hasty. It's a story that intrigued me since I was about 12 years old, not my experience, never had one. Might take a few posts as I want to give some background/context. When we were kids, my dad managed to get in touch with an old friend who had moved to a rural part of Scotland, place in Ayrshire, and he'd been keeping in touch for a while. Then my dad decided we would visit them for a weekend. I'd never met these people before. Mother was a nurse, the man who my dad was friends with a mechanic. They had 2 sons, one an older teen who I hardly saw and a kid my age, so was me, my brother and this kid most of the weekend. There was some old circular, grassy area near his house with some large rocks, like a miniature Stonehenge. We hung out there for a while and he told us various rumors that people had seen various things there, from paranormal shit to supposed big cats, panthers, allegedly, and my older brother was making fun of it. He then said his dad had told him a story of a man made of wood or something. We're going back 30 years but we were laughing and making fun of him. Anyway, we went back to his house and had dinner, playing video games while the grown-ups had drinks and stuff. His dad came into the room a few times, drunker he got the jollier. Then he came in and was telling us to switch off and get to bed. His kid was like, "Tell them about the wooden man, they don't believe me." He's like, "What? No." Seems a bit embarrassed. Kid pushes it and he's like, "Okay, but after I tell you then it's lights out." So he starts off. Was a kid. Him and some friends collected some old wood/timber to build a hut/den. We also did this as kids. It was a common thing for kids to do in Scotland, probably elsewhere I dunno. They all nicked tools from their dad's toolboxes, saws, hammers, whatever they could find. They had a chopper which I took to mean a machete or axe for clearing away bushes and trees on the chosen site for their den. They built the den and were happy. It was getting dark so they were gathering their tools to head home. Next thing, the bushes behind the den start to rustle. They look over and see an old trampy looking man emerge from the bushes. I remember him saying this fellow was wearing a lot of clothes and looked fairly harmless. They asked if he was okay. The man didn't answer, but slowly walked towards them, getting agitated. I suppose they asked again, "Mister, are you okay?" "Nothing, just moving closer." They start to back up a bit, then suddenly the old fellow lunges forward and grabs my dad's friend, young teenage boy, by the throat and started to strangle him. He said he heard his friends screaming to let him go and started to panic, a lot of pressure and pain. This is where I started to believe him. His tone changed and his eyes began to water a bit. He said he didn't want to and was reluctant, but survival instinct took over. He couldn't escape. He was holding this tool or chopper, though, so he struck the old man right across the forehead with a lot of force. I'm trying hard to remember best I can, but I distinctly remember him telling us he shouldn't have done that, which confused me at the time, being a young lad, like fuck that the guy was trying to strangle you. Anyways, this is the weird bit. He said when he hit this man on the head, it wasn't what he expected. He said his head literally splintered like a tree would if you hit it with an axe. Splinters of wood popped out in all directions and there was no blood, nor did the man react with pain, but he did let go. They ran off. He said he looked back as they were running and the man wasn't chasing them, but he said he saw the man bend down and pick something up from the ground at his feet and put it in his pocket. They kept running. He was scared and told someone, I think his dad or mother, and they took the kids back to where this happened to look around, thinking an old man was probably injured or dead. Nobody there, but the den they'd built was wrecked. He said he was really worried that he was in trouble. It was a rural area and homeless people back then in a place like that would be rare. After I shared this recently, I got really curious about it and asked my dad. He has lost contact with this fellow again, they haven't spoken in years. Dad said he knows nothing of it, but this guy moved around a lot and they weren't like tight or close, best friends. They were friends but he was a bit of a drifter. He said he finds the story odd but the guy is pretty straight and not prone to telling tales. Ever heard anything like this before? I was chased by clowns in 2007. Late at night, about 10 or so clowns just rounded a corner and chased me for 3 hours through empty streets in an industrial area. I remember screaming for help. They had knives and bats. Eventually escaped. Smoked DMT 20 times in a week, alone in the darkness with noise-canceling headphones. The critters can be benevolent but some will drain your consciousness. Those fucking shadow people with shape-shifting pyramid pets tried to scare me but I just laughed of astonishment. Useless to describe in a rabbit hole with no end or objective truths. I also saw ball lightning when I was little and I still get goosebumps when I remember. Right now I'm watching the apocalypse in slow motion. Anyone in here from Vancouver? Can? It's kind of anticlimactic, but I saw a weird creature/thing running around in the Deep Cove area that a lot of folks I know have also come across/seen. Il Green text my experience. Be 15 or 16. Had dinner with GF family, hung out with GF for a while and was heading to catch a bus home. Bus stop is on a road that runs through and then alongside a native reserve. This bus stop specifically is completely deserted at night. Chilling, waiting for bus, listening to iPod. Suddenly feel uneasy, take out earbuds and survey surroundings. Is completely deserted around me as always. Look north, up the road toward Panorama Park. See movement poke out from the bushes on the east side of the road. Figure it's a raccoon or some other kind of critter that are common to the area. It comes out of the bush. It's definitely not any of the local fauna. Looks like a greyhound, but on its hind legs and shorter. The knee joints are reversed. As soon as it comes out of the bush it skitters across the street to the west side. All of this takes place a decent distance past the intersection directly north of me. Just stare, dumbfounded at the now empty street, eyes scanning in case it comes out. It doesn't reappear and soon enough I see the headlights of the bus over the hill. Catch the bus home and the rest of the night was uneventful. That was the end of it. Have not seen it since, but some of my acquaintances from the area described a similar thing when asked if they had seen anything strange there. Still don't know WTF it was. Anyone have ideas? Dunno if this counts. B13. Stepdad inherits old house from a far-out relative. We moved there a few months after. All the original furniture is still there including clothes etc. The room I chose to sleep in had just an old bed and a closet. Every night I slept in that room I had the same nightmare. I dreamt going out to an old well just outside the house to get water. I fall in and drown. I also feel like I'm drowning as in real life. Just as I am about to die I wake up in full panic. This happens every single time I sleep there. It turns out that the bed I slept in belonged to one of the younger sons that used to live there. And that kid actually fell down the well and drowned when getting water for the family. I got a new bed and the dreams stopped immediately. I'm still pretty spooked about it. I've got one, probably the most supernatural/weirdest thing I've seen. For what it's worth I live on tribal land in the Pacific Northwest. Be me. Move in with buddy out in the sticks of tribal land last summer. Go out in a woods a couple days a week to get a lay of the area. Find pic related, pretty cool, go back there often as a quiet place. Go out one day. Close to dusk when I start heading back. Out of the corner of my eye see what appears to be a tall white humanoid peeking from behind a tree, can't focus on it. Hair raises up, can't turn head to get a good look as I head home. Tell a couple friends about it, think nothing of it. Go out with one of said friends a couple weeks later. Start heading back before dusk. See same figure again, unfocused, in the corner of my eyes. We get back, friend didn't see anything. Few days later talking about it with one of my roommates and they say they saw something similar while they were pissing in the woods. What the fuck is lurking in the woods, /x/? I've only seen it twice, and each time is during dusk. I typically go out earlier in the day now if at all. I'm a little jealous of you. Never had any spooky shit happen to me. Be visiting National Park. Get to the top of visitor area, enjoying the view. Strange middle-aged guy I hadn't seen walks up. It's a good day for the Lord, isn't it? Yeah, I guess. Go to meet up with group. Not 5 seconds later, turn around and the old man is gone. Top of the area is a stone plateau, no way he could have even sprinted into the woods that fast. Fucker just disappeared. Tell group. No one else saw this guy either. I still remember him clearly, blue polo and tan shorts, peppery black hair and beard, white. One of my religious friends thought that maybe I met an angel or Jesus, but I'm not sure at all. Still really weird because unless this guy was an Olympic sprinter, there was no way he could have gotten back to the tree line from where we were near the edge of this plateau. Something like that happened to me when I was driving home once, except it was with a car. Be driving home. Main road is supposedly haunted. Road is foggy. See tail lights of car in front of my turn. Look down road where car turned, no tail lights to be seen, shouldn't have had anywhere to pull into. I was only about 6 to 8 seconds behind that car when it turned. I live in a spooky area, man. Be me at age 9. Get sick and nearly die, long story itself. Laying in bed drugged out of my mind because pain. See tentacles slithering from under my bed. Reaching towards me. I freak the fuck out but can't move. One begins to wrap around my head. Feel nothing but the pain I normally felt, but it got worse. Start crying to myself. Grandpa busts into the room. Lights on. Nothing. Pain gone. He sat in a chair and talked to me until I fell asleep. Woke up. He was in the same chair reading a book. Years later I asked him why he did that. He told me that he wouldn't let me go that way. Never talked about it again. I don't remember any of this, but apparently some weird shit happened in my house during my childhood. My older brother says that when I was a child, I would often say I could see a floating face in our backyard. According to him, I said it was a white female-looking face which had tears streaming from her eyes, but the face had no expression otherwise. He also says that around that time, our parents had to go out of town for some wedding or some shit and we stayed home alone for an entire night. We stayed up late watching movies in the living room, but apparently I was afraid to sleep alone in my room that night. I was 4 and he was 17, so he put the couches together so we could sleep there. Then he said, a few hours later he woke up for no reason, and saw some dark figure walking around the kitchen. He got terrified instantly. He hugged me. Still sleeping, closely and covered our faces with the blanket, hoping whoever that person, or thing, was, wouldn't see us and wouldn't hurt us. He stayed awake that night until our parents arrived a few hours before dawn. There was no one else at home. and nothing like that happened again. I was the rich kid among my group of friends, so we always played at my house since I had the most toys and the latest video games. A few months ago, we are all 25 to 27 years old now, we started having a nostalgia talk about our childhood and teenage stories together. At some point during the conversation, one of my friends said that he always had a strange feeling while we played in my room. He says he can't describe what it was exactly, something simply felt off there, and whenever my parents called me for something and I had to left the room, the sensation became stronger. At first I thought he was just fooling around, but my other friends say they felt the exact same thing. My cousin even said that he could sometimes see a dark figure moving quickly in the corner of his eye. I never experienced said sensation, but they do say it felt weaker when I was around, so maybe I somehow can block whatever that presence was? Fappen to no non-Jakuzuer for like 6 months straight. She looks like my ex-GF that passed away from a hearth attack. About to sleep, and then creepy noises. Fucking noises from the corner in my fucking room. Scratches, and I fucking swear that I heard laughs. Out of the corner of my eye I see shadows moving like water inside a bottle. 3 AM and ready to FAP again. My PC is in front of a window. Rule 34 my semen demon. While I was masturbating, out of the corner of my eye I watched a tall woman with short hair peeked out. I'm not kidding, faggots. I opened the door and nothing. 4 AM in PC reading about the coronavirus. A fucking chair. The fucking chair moves in front of me. The USB cable started moving. I don't know, faggots, I don't think that's the spirit of my sweet GF. She will never do that to me. And her hair is not short. 2009, went camping with some buddies on Monte Cristo in Utah. Dead of night, everybody's asleep, I wake up to pee. Leave my tent and walk to the edge of camp to relieve myself. Feels good. JPG. Right as I finish I hear movement in the brush about 7 feet from. Hey Anon, check this out, my good friend calls from the brush. Hella confused, all I say is, the fuck are you doing in there? Was about to check it out when I hear the same friend yell from his tent, stop fucking around and go back to bed. I freeze mid-step. Now I'm around 3 feet from the brush. I get a sick feeling in stomach. The fucker giggles, and retreats deeper into the brush. No one else heard anything and thinks I'm crazy to this day. That was actually one of my more pleasant memories. August 23, 2011, went camping at Bear Lake with my family. Everything is going as expected. Me and one of my 3 brothers are at each other's throats. My 2 sisters are competing for my mother's attention. 11 total nieces and nephews eating everything and acting out. 10 PM and all the kids are finally in bed. Most of the adults have gone to bed with their kids. I was having an insomnia night and couldn't sleep, so I wander around the campground. Come across a little hiking trail that leads to the lake. Decide to walk it for a while, maybe I'd tire myself out. I'm almost to the lake when I hear my sister yell, help, I hurt my foot. Didn't think twice, booked it toward the sound of her yelling and whimpering. Get to the source of the noise and nothing is there. Suddenly I hear my good friend's voice from the brush not even a foot away. Hey Anon, check this out. Get that same sick feeling in my stomach and try to back away. Something grabs my right forearm near my elbow. It feels like it's pinching me near my funny bone. Suddenly start smelling burning flesh. The thing lets me go and retreats back into the brush. My arm feels like it's burning as I haul ass back to camp. Head into the bathroom to check my arm in the mirror. A small dime-sized hole was burnt into my arm. Still have the scar pic related. I had a similar thing happen. I don't like talking about it, so this kinda gets forgotten a bit. Be me sometime around 2016 or so. Decide to go to sleep early. Been having trouble sleeping and have been trying meditation kinda to see if that helps. Getting anxious from laying in one spot and deep breathing for too long and still not getting tired. After what feels like hours of trying to fall asleep, I notice something is odd. My room is way too silent. Little strange, but still not enough to stop me from trying yo sleep, until I notice I'm getting cold. Don't feel my covers, in fact I don't even remember getting into bed. Open my eyes, notice I'm laying on my back but it is unusually dark. Oh, and that my blankets are tented over me. Brah. Still in a bit of shock and WTF, decide to look down to the foot of my bed and see this pale skinny humanoid creature holding my blankets up to look at me. Thing's face looked kinda flat and had either no eyes or they were sunken in its head, no nose from what I could tell, and its mouth was either just like its eyes or it was too dark to see. Think of the zombie thing from Zelda that screams at you, except more pale and mixed with Slenderman. Immediately upon seeing it I try to stomp the thing's face. Wake up on my bed. Bed is still made and I was laying on top of my covers. Look around my house terrified only to find nothing, give up and try to go back to sleep. Never had another experience like this before or after since, and still confused and scared of what the fuck happened. I don't have any stories unfortunately, but my dad has a few he's relayed to me. Weird shit, stuff he's never told me until now. I'm 25, it's weird to see how many people have seen fucked up stuff and just don't tell anyone. Story 1: UFO Anomaly. My dad and some chick head out into the boonies and chill in a barn. They're presumably fooling around and girl notices something weird in the sky. Bright light moving around erratically, unlike a meteorite, too fast and sudden to be a plane. They both gaze at this thing. Dad tells me it gets closer to them, stops maybe 100 meters away from the barn, thing is absolutely massive. Lingers for a moment, then suddenly blasts off into the horizon at an insane speed. They sit for a moment processing what just happened and got TF out of there. Will continue in subsequent replies. Be driving down a country road. Only 2 lanes on a single road. Open field of wheat to my right. Forest to my left. See something in the field of wheat as I'm driving by. Looked like some kind of dog but its back was visible above the wheat. Couldn't see its face but it looked like as if it were eating something with the way it was tugging and lurching. Had stripes along its back with a mohawk-looking trail of black fur along its spine. Didn't stop to see what it was. Not sure if I really wanted to. One UFO sighting that was 100% undeniably something not conventional. Witnessed the event with 2 others, one of them won't even talk about it. The guy is a dirt bike junkie who don't like talking/thinking about that kind of stuff. A few other weird UFO sightings where one time I swore I made a psychic connection. I was at a park with my friend during nighttime, and felt this urge to look at a specific part in the sky. While looking, a UFO started to move around in an erratic motion. It was really high up there, and what movement I perceived as a short distance must have been thousands and thousands of miles. I pointed it out to my friend to confirm, and even he said it was weird. Not long after, a fucking low-alt stealth bomber flew over us. Not even making this shit up. Could have been a total coincidence, but thought it was weird for a place like that out in the middle of nowhere, unincorporated town. When I was a teen hanging out my window smoking a bowl, I swear to fucking God I heard a skinwalker or beast roar in the woods behind my parents' house. It was otherworldly, like nothing I have ever heard before. It made my whole body go into shock, so I leaned back into my room closing the blinds. Was stoned, just on weed, and didn't even know how to process it. The second time I did meth I dead and started to experience some of the most craziest shit. The fucked up part is that it started out all in my head, like making a psychic connection with a satanic cult of kids who were orphans. They told me they turned their backs on God because of their hard lives and feeling abandoned by Him. They lived crazy dysfunctional lives of hedonism and pleasure. The most fucked part is I started to experience gang stalking right around the same time. I thought it was in my head due to the overdose, but it went on for months afterwards. I'm seriously fucked up now, lots of PTSD, mood swings, fear, disconnection, etc. First. Be me youngling alone at home. Playing video. A very tall figure walks into my room. It's humanoid, but so misshapen it doesn't remind me of human. It had no eyes but seemed to look at me. I looked at it and then went back to playing video. I think I just had a fever. Another. Be me, older. High school probably. Wake up during summer. It's super hot. I'm not fully awoken. I just hear hundreds of voices repeating they hear over and over again. Faint back into sleep. And most recent. Walk back home from work. Late, no one around. I'm walking past door to a building which are closed with a mechanism so no one can break in. They open when I'm not far past them and I see it because I looked back. No one was there to walk in, no one walked out. Lived in the mountains as a kid and half of the mountain was owned by this Indian woman. She told me not to venture to the top because it was sacred burial ground and booby trapped, so of course my friend and I did. We found a large stone pit filled with animal bones, some with meat on them. We climbed to the bottom and found they were from all types of animals: coyote, cougar, donkey, rats, squirrels and so on. It smelled just like burning copper up there and the hair on my neck stood up stiff. Never figured out who killed all those animals. Creepy shit happens in the wilderness. I don't doubt what you saw one bit. Southern Washington State, USA. Be me, 17 or so, walking with a friend after midnight. Had smoked some weed. I've smoked for like 8 years and never had shit like this happen. Walking through a park. Feels strange. My sight blacks out and I see a skull akin to original Doom's icon of sin looking at me. 2 small blue stones shoot over my shoulders into the dirt ahead of me, one over each shoulder. Didn't check the ground. Friend was talking while this happened and wasn't interrupted. A few weeks later. Be me, chilling in house's living room. Stoned. See the skull again, this time in real life in my living room. It looked like a man in a suit except with the cow, skull head, standing relaxed and looking at me from across the living room. I was never scared of it. Still not. Not the guy you were talking about, but that reminds me of an experience I had as a kid. Me, my family and my best friend were up at the family cabin for the weekend. It's right at the base of a mountain in the middle of nowhere. So of course he and I go hiking. I think we both had machetes and some basic provisions. We go up quite a ways. I don't know, maybe 3 hours. The mountain would go up a ways then be flat for a bit. It was a great time, honestly. At one point it was sunny and another it started snowing. Eventually we get to a flat part and sit to rest. Just fucking around hitting shit with our machetes cause we're little shits. Talking about Bigfoot and monster hunting cause we were weird. Walking along and run into a deer corpse. It's fucking Mangled. Spent a lot of time in the woods growing up. Seen dead deer before. This is fucking weird. We figure it's probably a bear or something else. Feel kinda an aura of fear and get the shit out of there. Nothing happened, but it was just an experience stuck in my mind. Early 90s, upstate New York. About 6 years old. At a family cookout at my grandparents' house. Tons of people, aunts and uncles, cousins, etc. Lots of kids running around playing. Summertime, around dusk, just starting to get a little dark. I'm the first to see him emerge from the woods behind the house. Dude is obviously homeless and either drunk or fucked up on something, walking all weird as he approaches the backyard where everyone is gathered. I point him out to my mom, who freaks and tells my dad. Dad immediately tells to get everyone in the house now. Adults all rush the kids inside, lock the door behind them. We all watch through the porch window as this hobo or bum or whatever staggers up to the picnic table and helps himself to some of our food. I remember at one point my uncle wanting to go out and beat his ass, but my grandpa stopped him, telling him to stay inside. The dude finally turns toward the window where we're all gathered and points and screams. I still remember that face. Blood red and absolutely crazy. The eyes were glazed. It was the face of total insanity. Dude then flipped the solid wood picnic table, loaded with pounds of food, with one hand, and I clearly remember it flying off the ground. Dude then just casually strolls off through the front yard and down the street. I remember being totally confused because Dad was a police sergeant, even had his gun on his hip while all this happened. He always carried. Uncle was a professional boxer back then, and Grandpa was a World War II Army infantry vet and retired diesel mechanic. Basically all these dudes were tough as nails and swole as fuck, and they cowered inside like children. It absolutely confused my child's mind. I was especially confused as to why Dad wasn't going out and arresting him. He could have had 50 or more cops there within 2 to 3 minutes with one phone call. I remember later that evening the adults went into the kitchen to talk and told the kids to stay in the living room. I remember heated conversation and my mom asking where did he come from. But that's all I remember hearing. Grandpa and Uncle have both since passed on, but I did fairly recently, like a year ago, ask both parents, now divorced, about this event, to which both claim they don't remember such a thing ever happening. It absolutely did though, because my sister and at least 2 cousins who were ages 6 to 10 at the time all remember it.